Hello friends, it's Tom Swiss here with you once again. It's been a minute since we have done a video chapter of the Zen Pagan here. This is Muddy, for those of you who have not met him. He's photobombing us here apparently. Yes, we haven't done a video chapter here at the Zen Pagan in a while, so I thought as we move past Imbolc, it was about time. And what I would like to talk to you about this evening is a book I have been reading, Stolen Lightning, The Social Theory of Magic, by Daniel Lawrence O'Keefe. And, well, if O'Keefe is known today, it is mostly because he is the guy who invented Festivus. He invented this family holiday as an inside joke in his family, and one of his sons grew up to become a writer on Seinfeld and took this family thing, this little family tradition, and turned it into the satirical winter holiday that we all know today. The original Festivus was a celebration of O'Keefe's first date with his future wife, so it didn't have anything to do with aluminum poles or airing of grievances, I don't think. It's quite interesting because Daniel Lawrence O'Keefe was, when he created the original Festivus, actually, he had a lot of the sociology of magic in mind. He had a PhD in sociology, and this was kind of his magnum opus. This book came out in 1982, 83, and it's quite interesting because as we look around today, if you look around, Patheos Pagan, if you look around the occult and magical community, there's a lot of interest in magic and witchcraft. It's definitely poked up in the past few years, especially witchcraft as a cultural phenomenon. There is more interest, it seems to me, I haven't done any type of study of this, but it seems like there's a lot more interest in black magic, in hexing, and that side of things than there was when I became involved in the pagan community, back around 1990. So that's kind of interesting. And it's also true, I think no one would argue, but that we live in interesting times in the sense of the apocryphal Chinese curse. And these phenomenon may not be unrelated. Yes, they may be related. They may not be unrelated. O'Keefe's book here is structured as 13 postulates about magic, and it seems like 3 of them really speak to this particular moment. Number 1, magic is a form of social action. Number 2, magic tries to protect the self. And number 3, magic, and especially black magic, is an index of social pressure on selves and on individuals. Now, I've just started this book. I'm maybe about 50, 60, 70 pages, and it is not easy reading. It is dense academic text, and a contemporary review in the New York Times put it at the time, said, this multifaceted volume is simply bewildering in its discussions of psychology and its use of anthropological theory. Quite simply, it lacks the one magic a book must have, the magic of coherence. And it is somewhat true. It is not a how-to book, and it is not like a history of neo-paganism or of Euro-American magical societies, anything like that. His perspective is not that of a practitioner. He's looking at magic as a social phenomenon. He's looking as a sociologist. But that, for those of us who take an approach to magic as an art, but who take a philosophically physicalist view, who don't necessarily believe or don't believe that there necessarily is a supernatural component to magic, it's quite interesting. And it leads to a bunch of very interesting ideas about the place of magic in society. He says that he quotes a bunch of people and a bunch of people. He cites a bunch of people and quotes a bunch of sociologists who, I'm not really that familiar with their work, but he talks about how Max Weber used the word magic on almost every page and never defined it. He talks about Durkheim and talks about writers in the Freudian tradition. He comes up with this idea. He says, magic defends the self against society. What then is magic? If religion is the projection of the overwhelming power of the group, And if magic derives from religion, we'll get to that in a moment, but okay. But if magic derives from religion, but sets itself up on a somewhat independent basis to help individuals, and is at the same time frequently reported to be hostile to religion, then is not the answer apparent? Magic is the expropriation of religious collective representations for individual or subgroup purposes to enable the individual ego to resist psychic extinction or the subgroup to resist cognitive collapse. Later on, he quotes psychoanalyst Gizel Rohim. Sorry for my absolutely horrible pronunciation here. It's the autodidact's curse. He quotes this guy Rohim's Magic and Schizophrenia. We grow up through magic and in magic. Our first response to the frustrations of reality is magic. And without this belief in ourselves, we cannot hold our own against the environment and against the superego. In magic, mankind is fighting for freedom. Ooh, that's pretty good. In magic, mankind is fighting for freedom. I like that. That's nice. Yeah, right. Now, some of what he's talking about really fits in nicely with one of the big themes that I talk about in Why Buddha Touched the Earth. This is an observation from Joseph Campbell in his famous essay, The Symbol Without Meaning, where he talks about the difference between shamanistic religions in hunter-gatherer societies and priestly religions in agricultural civilized societies. You may well have heard me talk about this before because I think it's a really important idea. And the idea is that in hunter-gatherer societies, there is not a lot of specialization, right? Everybody does everything. One guy might be the best at chipping arrowheads, and one woman might be the best at identifying medicinal herbs, but every guy can chip an arrowhead, and everybody knows, if you've got a stomach ache, this is the herb that you chew, and that includes religion as well. The shaman, the tribal shaman, is the person in the tribe who's best at going into that mystical state of consciousness, all right? But everybody can do it. In fact, that's how you get to be an adult, is you go on a vision quest, and you have that direct mystical experience, okay? And then we settle down to become farmers, and we have civilization, we invent writing. Everything has gotten so much more complicated. Everybody is a specialist now. Right? You know your job, you don't know your neighbor's job, that's his problem. And this includes religion as well. We get, rather than shamans, we get priests. And the big, huge difference between the shaman and the priest is the shaman becomes a shaman through their own direct experience of the mystical state. A lot of shamans, it's not unusual, at least in Native American cultures, a shaman becomes a shaman because they fall down ill and have this completely involuntary experience, which, if we're putting on our skeptic glasses, we would call a hallucination. But if we put on our spiritual glasses, we might call a spiritual experience. And they come out of it afterwards, and the other tribe says, "Oh, you're the shaman now. You had the vision. You didn't ask for it, but boom, you're the shaman. Sorry, hey, sorry about your luck." Whereas a priest, to become a priest, you got to study and learn all this stuff, and you very deliberately choose to become a priest. And the way you get to become a priest is because another priest invests you ritually. There is some ritual juju that has to happen before you can become a priest. Okay, I cannot set myself up as a Catholic priest on my own. Right, a bishop has to do the thing. Otherwise, within the structure of Catholicism, I could not transubstantiate that cracker into the substance of the body of Christ. I only do that once I have been ritually invested with the power. And Campbell's point is that structure of civilized agrarian society started to fall apart with the Enlightenment and the Industrial Revolution. And we are going into something new. A new age in which we're going to need something more of the lion-hearted courage of the shaman rather than the piety of priests. So this is the type of religion that O'Keefe is referring to when he talks about the projection of the overwhelming power of the group. he's not talking about any type of religion that we as neo-pagans might practice, which is not, about that. I think this is what neo-paganism is about in the moment. Not in this particular moment of just now with the Trump presidency, blah, 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 but I mean this period of history going back 200, 250 years and reaching probably a few centuries into the future, this transformation where we are moving from agrarian civilization to, well, I don't know, because we're in the middle of changing into it, hopefully, knock wood, into a sustainable technological future, again, we're moving into it, so who knows? But it's going to be some kind of technological thing. It's not going to be primitive if we're going to survive. Either because if we go back to primitive, we're going to lose a couple billion people. It's going to be real nasty. But it's got to be sustainable technology. And hopefully, if we get the right spiritual alignment, then we can do that. We have the technological means, but do we have the brains, the heart mind, not the intellectual mind, but do we have the heart mind to do that? Hopefully so. Anyway, I digress. So, neo-paganism as this new form of religion, and O'Keefe's idea is that throughout history, magic has served as a form of resistance to that conformity-inducing sort of religion, that sort of religion that is meant to take you and keep you in your place, keep you in your little box, and keep you from rebelling against that. Pretty much has been the job of organized religion throughout history. And again, we're looking in the neo-pagan movement, I believe, for something new, something that breaks out of that mold. So when I speak of religion, we need to understand what type of religion it is that we're talking about there. So Stolen Lightning is set up, it's structured as 13 postulates about magic, and over the coming weeks and months, it is my ambition, my hope, to take a look at each of those postulates in turn. So we're going to do on the blog, and maybe in some further videos, we will get into a deep dive about the nature of magic and its relation to society. So something to look forward to in the time to come here. Yeah. So, and Muddy's photobombing us again here. All right. So thank you for hanging out with me for a little while, friends, for talking about that book again, Stolen Lightning, The Social Theory of Magic by Daniel Lawrence O'Keefe. And we'll be talking more about that in the weeks and months to come. So